Hello everyone, my name is Chris Lajeunesse and welcome to 60 Minutes. In today's episode about 60 Minutes, we'll be talking about sport. And what specifically about sport? Sport and gambling. Is it truly bad? What are the benefits? And what about DraftKings? Is DraftKings gambling? All these you'll find out on 60 Minutes. Hello and welcome back to 60 Minutes. We want to talk to you a little bit about the history of sports gambling before we get into the current stuff. So, the history of sports gambling became aware in 1919 when the Chicago Black Sox scandal took place. This is where 8 players of the Chicago Black Sox team blew the game to get financially paid off. Other examples include Pete Rose. For those of you who don't know, Pete Rose is one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Pete Rose is the all-time hits leader in the MLB. What Pete Rose did was bet on his team, the Cincinnati Reds, while he was a player and coach. Because of this, he's ineligible to be on the Hall of Fame ballot. Now, do you think he should be in? That's a debate for another day. Welcome back to 60 Minutes. We are pleased to announce that later in the show we'll hear from DraftKings superstar and winner, Peter Jennings. But let's continue on talking about some of the concerning statistics when it comes to gambling in sports. In a recent study, 66% of college students have gambled in the past year. The most type of gambling is sports gambling at 62%. What's the second most? The lottery at 39%. College students that gamble also tend to show higher interest in drug and alcohol abuse. I don't know about you, but these sound like some pretty concerning statistics. One of the hottest types of gambling right now is online fantasy sports gambling. In just a minute, we'll hear from DraftKings legend and superstar, Peter Jennings. Welcome back to 60 Minutes. As I said before, we have Peter Jennings on the show today. Peter Jennings is one of the greatest DraftKings users of all time, and we have him here today. Let's welcome Pete Jennings. Hi Pete, can you tell us a little bit about DraftKings and your claim to fame on DraftKings? Hi, I'm glad to be here. Sure. So, DraftKings is a DFS platform. DFS stands for Daily Fantasy Sports. In this case, you choose your players daily. So for baseball, you could choose a team of 10 people or of 11 people. And if they do well, they get you points. And if you have the most points in your league for that day, you win money. And in some tournaments, if you win, you can win a shit ton of money, like a lot. For me, my claim to fame on DraftKings is I won first place at a baseball tournament, and in one single day I won $1 million. So people look to me as a professional DraftKings player, and I am a professional DraftKings player. I advertise for DraftKings, and I have actually done some work with ESPN about DraftKings. So that's my claim to fame for DraftKings. So Pete, is DraftKings gambling? No, DraftKings has been legally operating in the United States since the U.S. federal government passed the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act in 2006. This basically considers fantasy sports as a skill game, and that's why 44 out of 50 states are legally offering DraftKings in fantasy sports. So you pay money to play in a tournament. If your players do well, you win money. If they don't do well, you lose money. Sounds like gambling to me, Pete. So basically, DraftKings is a game of skill. People take time to research their players, sometimes for hours and hours on a day. This research takes skill to know what you're researching and what players to pick. So a certain batter, if they have a good history against a pitcher, that takes skill into looking that up and realizing that. Or also a pitcher's K per 9 or their strikeout to walk ratio. These are things that are to consider when you're choosing your players, which makes it a game of skill and not just a game of willy-nilly picking your players. Also, you look pretty familiar. Haven't I seen you before at a DraftKings event somewhere? Well, I mean, I've tried it before to see what the fuss was about, but I didn't think it was that great. I'm pretty sure there's video of you at a DraftKings event, so I'm kind of confused on why you're conducting this interview with me. If you seem to love DraftKings so much on this video, but you seem to hate it here at this interview. What are you talking about?
pretty excited. I'm in first place right now. But we still got this Denver game going on, and I know a lot of people are on those players. So yeah, I'm thinking hold on to this lead. Yes! There's the rain delay with the
Oh, well, that concludes this episode of 60 Minutes. Tune in next week as we discuss whether or not Pete Rose should be on the ballot for the Major League Hall of Fame. See ya!